You got this?
Yeah, are you almost done though? And hello to all our South Shore neighbors. You are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable with Boston Connect Real Estate's broker team. My name is Melissa Wallace, and I'm joined in the studio with my team member, broker owner, pseudo mom, everything, Sharon McNamara. Oh, she's running.
Yeah,
she's running.
I love that you call me your everything because you are my everything, right?
Yeah.
You even have a name tag on your door.
According to my door, I am everybody's everything. So we are live, not just on WATD, but we are live on Facebook. So be sure to like our page, Boston Connect Real Estate. We are shared to McNamara Broker Team, all of the Connect pages. If you want to listen to any of our past shows, you can go to talkrealestateroundtable.com. You can go to your podcast app, iTunes, Spotify, all that fun stuff. So you can listen to all of our great shows because we're so funny and we're so knowledgeable.
Well, we're also on we're live streaming. We're trying something new tonight too. We did it one other night, but we didn't tell anybody. But we're live streaming on Podbean as well. So if you want to go to podbean.com and you can check out our live show there as well. So you can catch us at podbean.com. Not sure if it goes to all the podcast websites or not, if we're live right now on all of the podcast apps, but if not, you can find those later.
Yeah. So, you can always call into the studio too if you want to join in on the conversation. So this number over there with George, we have George tonight, right, Sharon?
Yes, we have George.
We have George. So it's 781-837-4900, or you can leave us a comment on Facebook if you're a little shy. But tonight we are going to be talking about should I stay or should I go? So I called in with Rob this morning. That's usually Sharon's duties right in the morning, every Tuesday morning, but I took it over today.
How did you do anyways?
I think I did fine. You know what? I was a little nervous, but I don't know why, because we're on the radio every single Tuesday, but it doesn't feel like we're on the radio. I felt like I was being interviewed in a way. So I think that's why I was a little nervous. But Lori Rini, who is a full-time real estate agent here at Boston Connect Real Estate, came in today and said, I heard you on the radio this morning. You sounded great. So I guess, and Lori doesn't lie. So,
so whatever Lori says is true.
Whatever Lori says is true. But so I was talking to Rob this morning. We're going to do a little twist on our show that we've done before. Should I say or should I go? It's not just about, should you stay in your home now or should you move? It's also about if you decide that you want to move and you put your house on the market, should you stay at your house for, say, an open house, showings, all that stuff. So we will sort of dive right into that. Do we have anything else that we have to talk about before we get into our topic?
No, but I was so glad that we are doing the show tonight because I was meeting with a client. We just put a new listing on the market. It was 56 Winter Street. And I have to, after the show, after I get the check, the deposit check from the agent, we'll mark that as contingent. But we got 5 offers. My clients came into the office today. We were discussing it and I was like, the agent already called me and said, we already made the appointment for Thursday to do the home inspection at 11 o'clock. And his question was,
should I be home for that? Should I leave?
Yeah. So I was like, well, you'll just have to listen to the radio show tonight to find out.
So hopefully they are listening. We'll give you some good tips, even though you have now an accepted offer, which is great. And we're so happy about that. But I'm actually just writing on my list of the one main important thing that I thought of when we came up with this topic and I didn't put it on the list. So there we go. Yeah. Today's been a little weird, a little backwards,
Yeah, I was in the office all day today. I got to tell you, though, I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
want to switch roles?
Okay, if you want. I have to take my broker's class, though, first.
Yeah. Well, I asked you to do that 2 years ago. So,
yeah,
there we go.
Then COVID hit, there's not much I could do.
I know.
So where are we? Oh, yeah. Okay, so we're going to be talking about should I stay or should I go?
We're missing somebody tonight,
we're missing somebody.
Everybody.
Yes, we are missing Mary Baker. Maybe she's at home listening or watching us on Facebook. So hello, Mary.
Hi, Mary. If you want to call in. We're here.
Yeah, she is home. So it's just the two of us.
Yeah. So I was here at the office today. You were out. We're having our holiday party on Friday. We're having it here at the office and we've been getting ready for that. And you went out and did all the shopping and stuff today. And then I was here. I am not kidding. I went up and down those stairs minimally 50 times today.
Welcome to my life. I literally, like, I don't need to go to I need to go to the gym, but I don't need to work out as much because I just go up and down the stairs, up and down, up and down.
Oh, it was crazy.
When people are here, when I'm here alone, I'm mostly just like in my office, but I can see everything. Although I do need binoculars because there's some rumblings going on next door.
Yeah, that's on my list of things to get you. I have to remember that. So tonight we're going to be talking, as we said, should I stay or should I go? And we are going to, so here are the questions that we get. We're having, you put your house on the market and we have a showing. So the seller will say, should I stay home for the showing or should I leave or should I go? Then we have an open house. Should I stay or should I go? Then you get it under agreement and we have the home inspection. Should I stay or should I go?
Mm-hmm.
And then the bank appraiser comes. Should I stay or should I go? And then if any specialists have to come in after the home inspection, maybe you have to bring in a plumber, an electrician, a roofer, whatever it is, should I stay or should I go? So Melissa thought of this topic. I thought it was great because it is a question we get asked all of the time. And did you notice how I in my description, I was like, we are going to keep it real. And besides that, I'm thinking about changing the name of our show.
What? To what? Keeping it real?
No.
Oh.
Chicks in Real Estate.
Oh, okay. Chicks
in Real Estate. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a pretty firm stance on how I feel about clients being there, and it's nothing negative about the clients at all. But one of my first questions that I always ask either you or Mary if I'm going to one of your listings is, are the clients going to be home? Mm-hmm. Because I never want to be surprised that they are or surprised that they're not. So I'd rather just know, okay, if I were to have any questions, would I be able to ask them? Do I reach out to you? Are they going to be there? And I sort of have to be like, okay, well, here I am. I'm the professional. Let me answer the questions type of thing. Mm-hmm. So that's always one of the first questions that I ask when I'm doing something.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, perfect. I thought that we had maybe a caller because I had a text from George, but that was a false alarm. False call. Yeah, that's what it was.
False call.
But if you do want to call, right, talk to us. It doesn't even have to be about this topic. If you just want to sort of pick our brain about anything real estate, 781-837-4900.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So you always want to know that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I always ask.
Well, and I think it's important. It was actually a really good example of this came up for me this past weekend. So I had my new listing in Kingston on Water Street. And is it Water Street? Yeah. Winter Street. I know that doesn't sound right.
We've had Water Street before.
Yeah, no, it's Winter Street in Kingston. And so it's sort of a busier cut through. And I had,
so was Water Street.
Yeah. It was not internet. I had the open house was planned from 11 to 1.
Yeah.
I didn't get out of there until after 3. Mm-hmm. So the sign was out and it was I didn't even have a chance to get out there and remove the sign. Unfortunately, my one at the end of the street had fallen over and the balloons popped, but that's another story for another day. But, in the meantime, I had my last person there and, the clients came home and I was like, oh, I'm sorry that it was now at this point it's 2.
Yeah.
And I was like, come on in and everything. And I was like, so we went into the house and I forgot the sign was out front. I was like, oh, I'm just going to stay here a couple minutes and grab my sign. So my clients are now home. So I was like, why don't you go downstairs? So my client has a service dog as well. It had been a long day for him anyway. So he sort of needed to be home at this point. So they just went down into the lower level and in the playroom and they were just sitting on the couch watching some TV out of the way. But I noticed, not necessarily with the first group that just sort of showed up unexpectedly, but with the second group, they you could feel the tension or awkwardness of them. Cause I said, oh, I just want to let you know, the homeowner is downstairs, but I'm happy to show you around the house, give you everything you need. So when they left, they were quick. And I said to my clients, I was like, see, that's sort of why we ask our clients not to be home. No, it wasn't their fault. I was okay with them being there at that moment. I was like, because it's just awkward for buyers when they're looking at the house because they know the seller's home. So they won't say, this house doesn't smell, by the way, but, oh, it smells like cat in here or what terrible carpet. People won't be honest. Mm-hmm. And her response to me was interesting. And so was his. He goes, yeah, it's probably comfortable for them. And then she's like, it was really uncomfortable for me. Like, I didn't want to be here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why.
That was how the cookie crumbled that day.
Yeah. But, anyways, they were great couples and they came through, but it was interesting to see how fast people will go through. And I feel the same way. Sometimes clients will ask us as listing agents to accompany the showings.
I was just going to ask.
Yeah. So go ahead. Talk about that a little bit.
No, I was going to ask you, I mean, how do you feel about doing accompanied showings? I mean, I know that you love to be a listing agent and you love to sort of showcase and say everything about, your listings, but, as a buyer, that might be awkward for them because they might not be able to sort of speak freely and which honestly, you should speak freely outside of the house, no matter what house, even if they do say that there's, surveillance or there's not surveillance or anything, like, you should be
chances are there's surveillance and they didn't tell any of us.
Something. It's either an Alexa or a Ring doorbell or something, Furbo, anything.
The Alexa's thing listens. Or do they just listen to Alexa, please put on the radio and stuff too, though? Can you can't use that as a microphone.
I don't know. I know that you can, we call Holly sometimes on it.
How?
I don't know.
They call another time.
They call each other. I don't know.
Huh. That's interesting.
I don't know if it's through the phone or what, but
okay, that's interesting. We were just talking today that we need an intercom system here, so but I don't want to certainly be doing it with Alexa.
No, we wanted walkie-talkies. We have an intercom system.
I have walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
On the boat.
Oh, yeah. June, Hannah.
Melissa, Sharon.
All right, Ariel. We're getting silly again. Okay.
So the thing with the accompanied showings, this is how I feel about accompanied showings. I think that buyer's agents prefer that the listing agent isn't there. And that makes perfect sense, right? Especially if you are on a tour and you have 3 or 4 houses that you're showing, you don't want to be waiting for somebody else. And 2, it's really hard to coordinate someone who wants to have a showing with the buyer and their agent than with the seller's agent. Sometimes it just doesn't coordinate. I mean, we're fortunate because we're a team and I have you two that can leave the office to go and show the house if we need to do that, or we can really ask any of our agents and they'd help us. But it's difficult to coordinate. And then 2, if you're running late, they're running late, it just sort of gets messy. And then when you're in the house, it is sort of weird. I'd say it's more weird for the buyer's agent because as the listing agent, you know way more about the house than the buyer's agent.
You should.
Yeah. And it almost puts you at this other level. I mean, because when I'm there, I love to tell all parts of the story of the house, so it is nice that I am able to do that. The properties that I enjoy doing it the most with are, houses that are sort of special, maybe an antique home, or maybe it's something where the house is, maybe it's a multifamily or just something that's sort of unique to the property. I love doing those. So the way that I handle those showings is I will go. I just introduce myself and I never put it in MLS that it's accompanied showings because I feel like sometimes buyers and sellers and buyers agents are like, let's just skip it. I'll just say, this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to bring you around the house. I'm going to show you a few things about the property. If you have any questions while I'm here, please feel free to ask me. And then what I will do is I will just leave. I'll be outside, in my car, doing email or whatever. And if you need, once you're done, take your time, feel free to open cabinets and do your thing. And then I'll leave.
Yeah.
So that's how I do it.
That's how you do it.
I looked like I was boring you a little bit there.
No, I'm just thinking, okay, so that's how you do showings and stuff. But getting back to, your seller, we don't advise the seller to be home during open house or private showings. I mean, there are circumstances where you can't get out of the house, and that might be, part of the reason why you need to leave. And
that's a very good point. So if you have a handicap situation that you just can't leave the house, then the listing agent most certainly should be there.
Yeah.
Because there isn't a chance in hells that I'm going to leave a buyer's agent alone with my client.
Well, so that's the other thing. I would say 99.9% of all appointments that the potential or actual buyer is coming to the house, the listing agent will be there already. So, yeah. I mean, that's why you're hiring an agent to sell your house, is because they're going to be there every step of the way. So there really isn't any reason why you should be home, because you've already given all of the necessary information to the listing agent. So the listing agent is going to be like sort of that portal of giving that information over. That's what their job is. That's what you've hired them to do. So you shouldn't be home during these appointments. So the answer is no for everything that we're talking about.
Yeah, so the show's over. You just know you shouldn't be there for anything. Well, and one of the things too is, honestly, I find myself doing it, and I don't even do it on purpose, but I remember one time I walked into a property and the homeowner was home, and I was, just having niceties with the person. And just like, oh, it's very nice to meet you. I'm the buyer's agent, and the listing agent wasn't there at the time, and I really wasn't doing anything on purpose. But sometimes people like to talk.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's generally like, some people are just like cold stone and do nothing, which makes it awkward. And then some people are just too free with everything, and they're like, oh yeah, like, we are so excited, we already bought a house down in Florida and we can't wait to get down to Florida, and we don't owe anything on this mortgage, and you know what,
talk. I did an appointment over the summer. It had to have been over this summer, where the buyers, it was a property in Pembroke. You were the listing agent. I went there with the buyers and the buyer's agent. They were meeting somebody because they were going to redo closets. And it ended up being a 2-hour appointment. This was one of the properties that we got many offers on in Pembroke this summer. And it was over 2 hours because the homeowners were home, and then it was, oh, let me show you how to use the pool, let me how to show you do this, this is where we used to put our Christmas decorations, this is this so
which is all good stuff,
which is all great stuff. I mean,
but if you weren't there, that could have gone all wrong.
Well, yes, there was a point towards the end where it was, oh, here's a book of all of, everything. And I said, well, why don't we put, we'll do that once. You can leave that in the house if you'd like, after the walkthrough, because it's all information about, oh, this is so-and-so and they live down the street, and, they, all this stuff. So it was, let's keep that for later.
Let's calm that down.
Let's calm that down a little bit.
It's nice when the sellers want to do that, and they want to be part of they want to be part of that whole process, and they're excited about the new person that's coming in. But there are times where, if the buyer's agent isn't there, then if the seller's agent isn't there, sometimes the seller will promise something to the buyer, like, oh, hey, you can have the John Deere. I'll leave that. Don't you worry about it. And then we show up at final walkthrough, the John Deere isn't there, and the seller says, oh, I decided to give it to my neighbor instead. So it's not in writing.
Yeah, and well, even in that case, there were a couple of things that the seller said, oh, I'll leave you this, and every single time that was said, I wrote it down and I gave it to you guys afterwards, and I was just like, this is what happened here, so you can do what you want with this.
Well, and that's the thing, is that you do have to then follow up with the seller and just say, just want to confirm that these are items that you said that you were going to be leaving behind, so they're going to expect them when we get there. I do remember, again, you are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. Tonight it is just myself and Melissa Wallace, and Mary Baker is not here this evening, but she is here in spirit. I don't know if she's listening somewhere, but if she is, she can feel free to call in as well. We're just talking tonight, should I stay or should I go? And this is, do we want our clients around, or we do not want our clients around?
I mean, we love our clients, but
should you be?
I guess my one maybe would be professional photography. And I'm saying maybe because there are some people, that I've gone to, the photo day where, the seller is super helpful and really like, oh, you should get, this angle because the sun is beating, sort of.
I still say no.
Okay. But I'm saying maybe because my no part to my maybe is like, that's where it sort of starts to get emotional. And that's where it starts to hit the seller where, okay, so now I have a professional photographer coming to take pictures of my house. And this is sort of like the first step. It's not just, signing a listing agreement because, those can end and you don't have to sell your house even though you sign
but then
up.
When you're doing that, when I feel like when the homeowner's home during the photography, and again, maybe, but for me, it's, what I'm doing when I'm in there. I'm like, unplugging things, hiding wires. I was like, why do they always put these towels on the stove? I don't get it. And doilies are everywhere. And I'm moving furniture. The first thing I did when I went to the open house the other day is I moved furniture. Literally, maybe moved one chair a foot. And they came in, they're like, "Oh, you moved the furniture." I'm like, a foot.
Yeah. I maybe I'm saying maybe because I have had some great experiences like getting to know sellers, and that's sort of like my first interaction with them if I'm not here when you're doing the CMA. Mm-hmm. And I remember a house a couple of years ago in Hanson. It was right on the water. Mm-hmm. And they had maybe I think 2 sets of twins or something. Yeah. And I just had a really great conversation with her, I had a great conversation with her. And then we just, sort of have a relationship there. So
I'm going to have to reach out to her. I miss her. Yeah. I'm glad you just brought up her. Well, I brought up her name, but you brought her up.
You're welcome.
But we were talking about something else before the photos. There was something else, and I can't remember what though. Oh, I'm gonna give a true story. I've given it before on the radio as well. So one time, this was when I was newer in the business, and it was something we were already under agreement. It had something to do with maybe not even the home inspection. I don't remember why we were there. Maybe it was the home inspection, but I used the front door, and the buyers, I didn't realize, had come up the back door. And so I came in the front door, like sort of right behind them, but they were faster than me, and they were on the back porch. And I came through the house, and they were on the back porch talking. And the seller was like, "Oh yeah, we're just, talking about where the septic system is and everything. And, he wants to put a pool in or something one day." The older couple, they leave, home inspection happens. Then we find out that Title V failed, and they had to put in a new system. Well, the new system happened to be right in the reserve area where the seller had told them they could put the pool. Mm-hmm. So now they're like, "Well, that's where we want to put the pool. He told me I could put the pool there." And then I had to call Shane McGlone and ask Shane to come down. He found 5 other areas these people could have put the pool. Mm-hmm. And nope, it was in their head. They wanted the pool right there, so they backed out.
Yeah.
So that's why they shouldn't be home.
Yeah, that's why you shouldn't be home.
Okay, what else we got? We all done?
No. Okay, appraisal. Why don't you talk about not being home during the appraisal?
Yeah, sometimes I would say that's one that's a maybe for me. That I wouldn't be terribly upset if they had to be home, like if they were working or something like that. But when you're meeting the bank appraisal, I think it's really important for the listing agent to be there for that appointment, just because you have all the information. The age of the roof, sometimes that stuff is in MLS, but you should have a full sheet of all the updates and all the upgrades and everything. I'm always very, very surprised, when we have something under agreement as a buyer's agent. I know that I always would say, "Will you be going to the appraisal?" Because it's the listing agent that goes. Mm-hmm. I want to make sure that the people my buyer clients are working with, that the listing agent isn't just saying, "Oh no, the homeowner will be home and let them in."
Yeah.
Because you do have to have that conversation. And two, I know a lot about the different houses in the area and what has happened. Maybe, we don't have it anymore, but there was a time when we had all these short sales. So if I met an appraiser, I would be like, "Oh, just so you know, when you see that one at this price, that was a short sale. Mm-hmm. Oh, that one down the street, that was a very bad divorce." So sort of know what the motivation was for that sale price.
Yeah.
So, we don't have that right now, though. Everything is just emotionally based.
Yeah.
So with the
it's
appraiser,
an emotional process.
Yeah. I think with the appraiser, you should be there 100% as a listing agent, as a seller.
Final walkthrough?
No. You don't want to be there.
No.
Because at that point, it's way too emotional. I feel like something is tickling me.
There might be a little hair on there or something.
I don't know.
A little fuzz.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on here. Sorry about that, everybody. Yes. So which one are we talking about? Final walkthrough?
Final walkthrough.
Yeah. I just don't think that you should be, unless there's a reason for you to be there. Sometimes the buyer and the seller, through their agents, will coordinate to meet maybe a little bit earlier, and they can discuss, the irrigation system or the pool pump or different things like where the shutoffs are for the hoses or whatever it is that they can sort of go over together. But for the most part, yeah, you shouldn't be there for that either. Because if they don't like it, then if they're upset, the way a house looks a lot different once everybody's furniture is out. So sometimes people walk in and they're like, what?
And everybody's version of clean is different.
We've had that.
Or, I thought they would want all the paint. I thought they'd want all the extra siding. I thought they'd want all the, no.
Yeah, you have to get that all taken care of beforehand. And I loved the one I had this summer where they said, Sharon, do you think I'm going to get rid of that hair in the shower? And I was like, do you think I am? More importantly,
do you think I am?
Yeah. So, I mean, it was, and again, it really is most purchase and sales agreements say broom swept condition, and that can mean something completely different to two different people.
Yep.
So just set the expectations of what you want.
Yeah. Day of closing, should the seller still be in the house for any reason?
You answer that one. That's a good one.
It's a no for me. I think that once the day of closing, there should be no reason why you are still in that house. I mean, once you get a closing date, you should be prepared to be out of that house the day before. Or if you have to absolutely be there, you sleep on a mattress. I mean, there are worse things in the world than sleeping on a mattress on a floor, okay?
And it's always so surprising to me, too, and this has happened to us a lot as buyer's agents, where we show up and it's, what do you mean you're still here? It actually happened with us for listing agents this year. I mean, I remember, we had one closing this year, and I was talking to the people, and they're like, I got to the house and they weren't there, and we were closing in an hour. And I was like, where are you? Oh, we're getting, sorry, my phone ringing. We're just coming back for another load. And I was like, you're loading it in your car? I said, you need to stop at U-Haul and get a truck. This is not all going in a car. So they had to go and get a van. But Mary and I were there. I was sweeping everything, and Mary was moving boxes and helping them get everything out of this house. Everybody underestimates how much stuff is there.
Yeah. Something just popped into my head. Should I stay or should I go? Pets. Should they be home?
Oh, during the showings.
During an open house, showings.
Yeah. Well, the past weekend, I was at that house, and I went into their master bedroom. And I was like, oh, they sort of place their pillows a little funnier than I would normally do it, But people were right behind me. So I was like, I don't have time to change this.
Was there a cat?
Yes.
I remember.
No idea.
Well, speaking of that house that they didn't move out in time, when I went to visit you during their open house, I remember walking into the master bedroom, and there's the cat just staring, is sitting on the bed upright, like just staring at every person that just comes in, like wasn't scared, wasn't just like staring at everybody coming in and out. It was so weird.
It is sort of funny to me every time I have a client that has a cat. I never see them. I never see cats.
Well, remember the Hingham house? When we did the open house together,
it was in the crate.
It was in the crate.
In the shower. Yeah, that scared me.
I kept going downstairs and saying, Kitty, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
And I hate to say this out loud, but I'm not a cat fan. They just show up. It freaks me out.
Well,
they're just.
But they take care of themselves.
But they're jumping on like your table and like.
Well, if you discipline them enough, like I'm not home enough to discipline Zoe. And at this point, like the other cats go up there. So you can't discipline one without disciplining the other. So,
yeah. Well, you never catch my dog up there.
Yeah. Well, your dog can't jump up there. They can barely jump up the stairs.
They can barely get up a
set of stairs. They can barely get up a set of stairs, let alone jump up on your counter. So
I know. But yeah, that's how I feel about cats. They just show up. But I've taken care of people's cats many a times over the years. But anyways.
Yeah. Anything else?
No. So when you do have showings, though, this is really an important one, and I didn't even think of it as either, is the dogs being home or the cats being home, because it is very serious. Actually, it's like sometimes we'll have to put notes on the door. Like sometimes people just they can't gather their cat. So we have to like, please beware, don't let cats out.
Yeah. I'm thinking of the Hanson house from last year. Don't let the cat out. And then here I am an hour later, all over Hanover Connect, Hanson Connect, Pembroke Connect. Has anyone seen this cat? Please. I'm like trying to find this cat.
Where was the cat?
The cat came back, but it was an orange cat that came back black because it was covered in something. But it was during the home inspection. Somebody left the door open or something. It had never gotten out ever. And the picture that the homeowner sent me to post about was a picture of the cat next to the flowers we sent them for the open house. So
I don't even know what house this is.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
you do. Tell me off the air. Yeah, because I'm curious about this.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
And the cat came back like a couple hours later, and I was like, oh my God.
Then with dogs, okay, so like having dogs at the house, some people are afraid of dogs, so that's why I feel like dogs really shouldn't be home. But I know there have been many a times where our clients have dogs and they're at work or they're doing whatever, that we'll go over there and take, the dog out for a little walk or something like that, so people can have the showing without people inside, without the dog and being afraid of the dog. Yeah. So that's my gig on that. Again, 781-837-4900. If you have any questions for us, it doesn't have to be about our topic. Should I stay or should I go? You can talk to us about anything when it comes to real estate. We are happy to answer your questions. George is at the studio in Marshfield, 781-826. No, that's the office phone number, 781-837-4900. Again, you can watch us live on Podbean. We are live streaming tonight. And you can also find us on Facebook if you want to go on there. And if you want to send me a text, feel free, 781-294-4848.
I have a yes.
Okay, let me hear it.
I say yes to a smoke inspection. And I say yes because
that's a good one.
If anything needs to be done, whether, a detector needs to be changed or added or a CO or an electrician needs to be changed, we're not the ones doing that. That's the seller that needs to do that. That's part of a requirement to sell your home. You have to be up to code with whatever town that you're in. So we won't be doing that. Like we won't be purchasing them and putting them up. Like that's a liability. So, and honestly, it's easier to get that severity across from I almost said the police department
from the
fire department than it is for us, because the fire department, that's their job. They're going there to inspect so if you hear, if a firefighter tells you, or the chief or whoever it is doing the inspection, if he tells you this needs to be done, he's telling you because it needs to be done. It's not, they said this and you have to do this. It's like, okay, I'll get to that.
They don't take it as seriously.
They don't take it as seriously, whereas if you're hearing it firsthand from somebody who that's their job, then I feel like people understand more than.
And I think for the most part, a lot of companies, like the agent isn't the one that's doing the smoke inspection. Like they just have their client set that up. I think that's, one of the services that we do. And I know all of our agents at Boston Connect do it as well. But it certainly is a liability for us if we're the ones to put up a smoke detector. I know that there are times where we have to do that. But we have to just make sure that we get the report or the certificate from the fire department. So we have just about 10 minutes left. Look at that, right on cue, George. That was like perfect. We were doing the waltz there. Let's talk about exactly. Let's talk about buyers for a little bit.
Okay.
Because I have to tell you, the most shocking moments of my life is when I show up to a home inspection and
the buyers aren't there.
Yeah. Where are you? Like,
you're buying a house. You're going to have to take time off of work. Like,
I can't even figure it out.
It's part of the game. Like, I don't understand stuff like that.
I told you we were going to keep it real.
Like, you're purchasing, like, this is the biggest purchase of your life.
Yeah.
Like, and I understand that you have to work in order to afford it, but this is what happened. Like,
you need
real estate doesn't just happen at night where you're, after work. Like, you have to do these things. And I would rather know something firsthand than to hear it from, I think he said that it was this, or oh, that is mold. He was all over that. Yes. That was mold. Like, I'd rather hear it from the home inspector myself.
And too, it is definitely the way that the tone in which they use it.
I think you need some water.
I do, so bad.
I know. I left my water upstairs.
Me
I'm like,
too. I'm like, I need something. But I think that it's also, when you read the report, if you just go by what the report says, well, that's going to be really scary just to see the report. So you should be there just to hear the tone in the home inspector's voice of, this is what we're doing. This is what we want.
My mom goes, how could someone not show up? Crazy.
Crazy. I agree, Liz.
Thanks, number one listener.
I know. We might only have that one.
No. People hear it all the time.
No phone calls.
People come in. No, we've been getting phone calls.
I like our new lights that we have for the door, for the windows.
Oh, yeah.
We have signs that say, one says on air.
I know. Well, we have to put them back up once the candles are gone and stuff. But
so I am very, very surprised when people do not show up to their home inspection. So, and for a couple of reasons, and two, you don't want the seller home for the home inspection, because especially with a seller who has pride of ownership, do yourself a favor. Don't be there, because home inspectors and buyers are looking for what's wrong, not for what's right. Yeah. So as much as they might say, you have a leaky faucet here, they're not going to mention how beautiful your trim work is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not pointing those things out. So then you get sort of edgy and you know what I mean? And it's not worth it.
I know it's a little off topic, but I read this like meme or something, whatever, before Thanksgiving that says like, be sure to compliment whoever's house's baseboards when you on Thanksgiving, because you know that they washed them because they were having company. Or something like that.
That's a good one. I wish someone did that for me.
Yeah. Don't you have a cleaner?
No, I haven't had Durley. Hasn't been off in a long time. Yeah.
I
gotta do that stuff still.
I had something in my head and I don't know what it was.
I don't know. I had something in my head too, and I don't know where it went either. No, we were talking about buyers and what they should be. If they they should go to. Go ahead.
Yeah. To me, wild when the buyer is out of state. And the listing or the buyer's agent or listing agent or whatever, like either takes pictures or FaceTimes and like sends videos. Like wild to me that like, I know it happens and I know that there are reasons why, but like I, as a person, could never purchase something that I don't see. That's why I don't particularly love online shopping. But when I do online shopping, 99% of the time I'm returning it.
Yeah, you do a lot.
I do a lot of returns.
Well, I've done that. I sold a condo in Pembroke one time. I sold their house in Pembroke, and they had a Florida home, and a house came on the market, or a condo came on the market in an area that they wanted. So they were already familiar. Your uncle actually lives in that development and was already very familiar with it. So the house was vacant. I went in and I FaceTimed them and walked them around the house. So, and they put in an offer. Their offer got accepted. And then one of them flew up for the home inspection. Yeah. So that was sort of important. I think that
Thank goodness they liked it.
Yeah. Well, I would sort of draw the line at that too, because I just think it's sort of risky as a buyer's agent to be the one that's given the information. You know what I mean? Because, as much as you want to embellish the things that are great, are you not embellishing the things that are maybe bad? You know? So that would be a little risky in my opinion. So, all right, we have somebody that texted me. Go ahead, you talk.
Okay, sorry, my headphones are a little too tight. I think my head's too big. It just always cracks me up. I guess that's the way to put it. But like that, when people just don't show up.
Yeah,
like just show up. This is a very important deal.
I know. Just be there.
Just be there.
Well, I think that people should show up in every aspect of life, don't you? If you're going to be there, show up. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
so. If you're going to be there, show up.
Yeah. You know what? Let's talk a little bit about like the new year's coming up, right? So we have a couple more shows that we're going to be discussing. So we're going to do a recap of the shows for the year. So like what our favorite shows were, and maybe take a tidbit from each one of those shows, what our favorite parts were. And we had some really, really great co-hosts with us this year. So we'll definitely want to give some highlights on those. And then our last show, maybe we'll do a little, some numbers or something just about that. Or maybe we'll just hang out and sing Christmas carols or
show tunes, because it'll be after Christmas.
Oh yeah, we can do show tunes.
I don't know.
What's that one that they sing in Times Square for New Year's Eve?
Oh yeah. Is it New York?
I don't know. May all or something like that.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, whatever.
Maybe.
So maybe we'll do that, but maybe not. Okay, so let's recap today's show. Okay. So
don't be home if you're a seller, and show up if you're a buyer.
Yeah. And that is, I mean, honestly, it is as simple as that. But we understand you are hiring us as your professional to sort of be the representative for you. I mean, our job is, we're all kinds of things. We're the marketer, we're the social media expert, we're doing all these other things that we never had to do 20 years ago. But we're also there to represent you. And sometimes sellers just don't even understand when they're saying the wrong thing. And I'm not even talking about disclosures. It isn't, I'm not afraid of somebody going into a house and the seller being there and the seller saying, hey, I had water in the basement, because that should be disclosed.
Yeah.
I'm more worried about somebody, who had a water heater. This happened one time. I saw remember we had the form and they put water in the basement?
Yeah.
And when I asked further questions about it, I said, can you tell me about that experience? The water heater went. I was like, well, that's sort of different than like having water in the basement.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is water in the basement. But I mean, they were like so honest that they sort of lost sight of what the question really meant. So you just have to be really careful in that capacity. One other thing, and this is what I was starting to say earlier too, with you being home, and if you do say, oh yeah, I heard about a place down in Florida, or, we're getting a divorce, I can't be near them anymore. You're telling your motivation to the buyer's agent. Remember, the buyer's agent doesn't represent you.
Well, sometimes the buyer's agent asks, oh, what's the reason for selling? I mean, well, why do you care?
Well, you know what? I have one answer anytime. I honestly always answer the same. It's just like, my client is relocating. I mean, they could be really relocating across the street. I mean, clearly they're relocating. They have to leave this house for you to move in it.
Ginny had a client this year who relocated 3 houses down on the same street. So there's that. Okay. Final words, final thoughts, final anything. We've about a minute left.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it was great to be here with you tonight. And we only, like I said, only have a couple more shows tonight. And we're hoping that Mary will be with us the next couple of days. She's been out doing a lot of showings and doing things like that. You want to let people know how they can get in touch with us if they want information, or if you want an evaluation on your home because you're thinking about coming on in the spring. Spring market, remember, starts the day after Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I predict that the Patriots and Tom Brady are going to be in, I don't know what team he plays for, but they're going to be in the Super Bowl.
Buccaneers. You can go to bostonconnect.com, find all of our contact information, 781-826-8000.
All right, everybody, have a great weekend. Now that seems really low. Thanks, George.
Now what? End?
Yes.